Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Here's an example. Return the first not blank cell. And the difference here is we're working with multiple columns. Same exact concept, but what we're going to do is we add multiple conditions. And the conditions are just multiple if statements. What are we trying to do? What we're looking for is just the first blank. And the way Excel works is you can add multiple if statements to accomplish the goal. This is the way it's laid out. Up here in H1, we have if statement, and it says if B and this operator, this two arrows, one going left and one going right, means not equal to. And so we're asking if B5 is not equal to, and the two quotes together mean a blank, it's asking if B5 is not equal to blank, then do something. And what it's going to say is whatever is in E5. It simply states if B5 is not blank, then put in 125, which is B5. Then the next statement is if C5 isn't blank, put in C5 here in the results. What we're looking for is the first not blank cell. With this requirement, we're going to look at this entire range here from B5 to E5, and we're asking, is there a blank cell? And if there's a blank cell, show us the first number within the blank range. And here you'll see that it shows 125 because there's a blank cell in here. Well, how do you know? This statement here says so. What we're looking for is true or false. If this range here, if any particular cell is blank, then the statement is true. And if it's true, it will list the first blank cell. You're going to ask yourself, well, if I'm looking at this information in the range B6 to E6, there's not a blank cell. Well, the default is to list the first blank cell. It's asking if it's true, list the first cell, otherwise put no value. Now the logic is a little screwy there, and it should be clarified a bit. We don't have a value. What happened? Why does it say no value? We have the first blank cell, and it doesn't list anything. Well, it asks, return first not blank cell. It should list 150, but guess what? This is not a non-blank cell. What happened here? Notice there's the 150 showing here. Well, what happens if there's a space? That could be problematic. If you run into this situation where the logic makes sense, but the answer doesn't, you need to investigate. We'll go back up here in the ribbon, find and select, go to special, click the blanks. Look what we have here. We would expect here, ignore this stuff outside of our range here. What we're looking for in cell B7 is a grayed out area, and it's not grayed out. And you're saying, well, what's going on here? There's a space in there. Go back up here. You see how far away the flashing bar. Click back. See that? There's a space there. So hit delete and hit enter. And now the 150 shows up. The same here. There's a space here. Why don't we do the same thing? Why don't we just put a number in here? 55. And then hit a blank. Hit blank 55 and hit delete. You can see that if we just put a space bar in there, why am I getting a blank here? Well, because it's not a blank cell. It's just returning the first not blank cell, and the first not blank cell is space bar within the range. Somebody hands off information to you without explaining what's going on, and you dig a little deeper, you may find some gaps. And you can see here, we were evaluating this information. Value 1 is blank. Value 2 is not. And guess what happens? You have a blank cell. Return first not blank cell. What's the next cell? It's not blank. And therefore, the answer shows up as an empty looking cell, but actually there's a space bar there. And lastly, down here, cell, the range B14 to E14 shows no value. And we just saw that this entire range was grayed out, and therefore it shows no value. What does that mean? That means if B5 is not blank, if C5 is not blank, if D5 is not blank, do something. Otherwise, put no value. This entire range is blank, therefore no value. Brad Williams, XL Prime, out. Williams out.